Hey guys, Dave Baggs here, and today I want to talk about Microsoft and Sony, and I want to talk about how I felt about the current generation of hardware at launch back in 2013 and how I feel about them today. But I also want to talk about some of the praise and criticism I received along the way from my friends that game, but also, and most recently, with my videos and their message. Okay, so I've always stated my opinions, guys. In particular, my opinions about the Xbox One, both at launch and recently. And believe me, guys, I've criticized the Xbox One at launch quite a bit. But now, hey, you know what? I celebrated the recent changes Microsoft has made with their products, and I also have constantly stated how great of a job Sony has done with the PlayStation 4 along the way. I've done this quite often, but on occasion there are those who don't hear me say the positive things about Sony and the PlayStation 4, and they should, especially because I'm an Xbox One gamer. What's really interesting are the reactions I've received from Xbox and Sony gamers, mostly friends before my channel started. But these reactions are based on my criticisms and praises that I gave these consoles when they launched, compared to the reactions to my opinions now in the present time, since many changes to both companies have occurred. For example, when the Xbox One first came out, I was skeptical. I was concerned, and I was very critical of the Xbox One and Microsoft. I stated my concerns often back then, but my concerns and criticisms I had at launch didn't take away from the fact that I still loved my Xbox One. I had high hopes for the Xbox One back then. I did. I loved my Xbox One at launch, and I love my Xbox One now, but I still had my concerns and criticisms. After the console's launch in 2013, I received some feedback from some of my gaming friends based on our conversations, and they were very supportive regarding my criticisms and concerns when talking about the Xbox One. And many of my friends agreed with the things that I was saying, and it turns out much of the positive feedback came from my PlayStation 4 friends. It's no surprise my PlayStation 4 buddies agreed with my statements back then. I mean, I was criticizing the competition with some very key points that I'm going to touch on in a moment. And remember, guys, I game on an Xbox One, and I criticize the very console that I play on. I mean, that didn't sit well with many of my fellow Xbox One friends because they didn't agree with me in any of my criticisms, and many of them didn't like what I had to say because maybe they themselves were afraid to admit the lack of success Microsoft had at launch with the Xbox One console. But I was being honest with these guys. Being those friends of mine owned an Xbox One, there's no surprise that they didn't like my honesty, okay? Now, almost 3 years later, Microsoft has made some big changes, and I pointed some of those changes out in many of my recent videos on my channel where, in a nutshell, I talked about the good things that I've seen in Microsoft. And now, a lot of Xbox users, including my Xbox gaming friends, have miraculously celebrated some of the things that I've been talking about because I am now no longer criticizing the console as I once did. Obviously, no surprise there. That's how it works, guys. People give you a hero's welcome when you say something they agree with, but they do the opposite when they either disagree or don't want the truth if it doesn't benefit them. Many Xbox gamers have changed their tune with my recent videos, and so have many PlayStation gamers as well. Many PlayStation 4 gamers don't agree with my praise for Microsoft because I was bringing up key points as to the positive changes Microsoft has made with their products. Again, guys, see how it works? My criticisms and concerns early on with the Xbox One was primarily the all-in-one console banter that they threw at us, essentially allowing you to do everything on your console, it seemed, but play games. And of course, throwing the Kinect down our throats, which, by the way, guys, I don't even use my Kinect. And they talked about the integration of your TV experience with the console. And through all of this, guys, I was pointing out these reasons to many of my friends as to why Microsoft messed up at launch and the fact that it hurt their sales. That's all it was. But apparently, many PlayStation 4 gamers, which includes my friends, forgot about that. They forgot about how critical I was with the Xbox One, but the moment I now talk about the positive things Microsoft is doing, I get a different reaction from them. It is what it is. And now Phil Spencer is in charge, guys, and he's head of the Xbox division, and good things are starting to happen. The new Xbox One S is coming that has no power brick. It's much smaller. The 4K output with Blu-ray is a good thing. The Xbox Project Scorpio, which is another positive direction in development, in my opinion, when it comes to Microsoft. Now, to some Sony gamers, not all, but to some Sony gamers, it now comes off as an act of fanboyism when I say something positive about Microsoft. Guys, look, I praise Microsoft now. Why? Because of the positive changes they made, and of course I criticized Microsoft at launch. I talked about and still mention how Sony did the right thing with the PlayStation 4 at launch, coming out with a more powerful console at a cheaper price, a smaller console, a lighter console, and the message Sony had at launch, which was to come out with a gaming console only and concentrating on the gaming experience. That was a good thing. Yeah, that's right, gamers. I gave Sony their props, and I've been the most brutally honest person on both consoles, if you ask me. But you know what? I'm proud of what Microsoft is doing. I was disappointed in how they started. I praised Sony as I stated at launch, and I pointed out how many Sony gamers reacted negatively to my Project Scorpio video. My Xbox gaming friends, well, they jokingly called me a traitor at first, saying I should have just bought a PlayStation 4 because of my honest opinions. Well, I don't get it. You can't have it both ways, guys, whether you're an Xbox guy or a PlayStation 4 guy. I can't be a traitor to the Xbox and Microsoft, but at the same time be a fanboy of Xbox and Microsoft either. I'm the same person, guys, speaking the truth and giving my opinions about the same console at different times. And of course my opinions are going to change. The Xbox and brand have changed, and so has Sony. And don't forget, guys, I thought I made a huge mistake when I bought the Xbox One initially because of the reasons that I mentioned earlier when they launched their console, but I stayed the course with Microsoft. I've got nothing but praise for Sony and their products, and Microsoft and their products. They both have outstanding products, guys. The competition between them is needed. It's good. It helps keep them growing and moving in a positive direction. I am happy to be a gamer, though. I just am. I just happen to game on an Xbox One. And if you guys don't like it, you can stick it where the sun don't shine.